Hi, this is Chris from Team Phoenix. Welcome back to the channel. So I'm going to bring you an update on the search for Suzanne Morphew, day 5 yesterday. I'm going to try and summarize it as best I can. It was a little bit of a crazy day. There was a lot of information coming in. A lot of people saying, well, that's false information, that's not true. And frankly, we still don't really know where these leads are ultimately taking us. So all I can do is summarize for you, and then you can take the information however you want. But we seem to have, the investigation seems to have narrowed down to 3 particular sites. These are all sites where they have had cadaver dog hits. Unbelievably, 3 different sites. One of the sites was a passive hit. The other 2 sites have been full on, as I understand, full on hits from these cadaver dogs. Now, as I understand, these are certified cadaver dogs. I know one of them in particular has been has successfully discovered 3 sets of remains in other cases. So, that obviously has to be taken into account, and that dog has a lot of credibility. I don't know about all the other dogs, but as I understand, they are all certified cadaver dogs. So these are the 3 sites as you can see on the screen. So there is what's called the beach job site, which is where it's in East Salida, where Barry was doing the work, where they initially searched in the concrete, dug into the concrete, and this is where the neighbour, Mary Branson, heard the machinery late at night on that weekend. That's where they've had a passive hit from 2 different dogs, I understand. In the middle is a site that's new to me that I've heard of. It's a site where there is a tree. The actual whereabouts this is still undisclosed, but we'll call it the tree site, where they've had a hit from 2 dogs for cadaver. And then on the right on this image is Longhorn Ranch, which is a property northeast of Poncha Springs. It's a property, or land, I should say property, it's land that Barry owns on Longhorn Ranch. And there is a plot of land, I think it's like 2 plots along from the land that he owns, where they have had another hit from a cadaver dog. So that picture on the right is actually, that's the Daily Mail image. That's the story that came out yesterday. It came out as human scent, or scent of human remains discovered at that site, Longhorn Ranch. As far as we know, that's true. Scent was discovered there. Now, I understand it was about 12 hours after this information all kind of came out, and then we had this from the Chaffey County Sheriff's Office, which basically says, contrary to some media reports, there have been no remains found in the Suzanne Morphew case. There have been a handful of potential leads that have been pursued as a result of the volunteer search. However, nothing has been identified as related to Suzanne's disappearance. Investigators will not comment on specific leads being investigated or other information connected with this case. So that then led a lot of people to say that all of this was false, false information, particularly with the Daily Mail article that came out. But what you do have to understand is that none of these areas have actually been sealed off and properly processed by law enforcement. That's how it looks at the moment. So that statement's been made. However, it doesn't appear that they have properly investigated these leads and properly processed these scenes, maybe with their own cadaver dogs or what have you. So that statement, how true it is in its entirety, or whether they know more but they're not saying, I don't know. That's not for me to decide. But I just wanted to quickly touch on, for anyone who's not aware of what a cadaver dog is. I'm sure most of you are, but they're basically trained to smell one thing, and that's cadaver. Cadaver is basically a dead or deceased human body, and when you die or when somebody dies, the fatty acids in your tissues basically break down, and there's two main substances that decaying human tissue produces. One of them is, I've got to make sure I pronounce this right, cadaverine, and one is putrescine. There are a couple of others, I can't remember what they are, but they're the main ones, and they are basically what a cadaver dog is trained to smell, and they can differentiate between human remains and animal remains, or any other smells that might interfere. Now, depending on what you research or who you talk to, accuracy, some will say it's 90-95%, but then you'll read other people reports that will say it's a lot lower, it's 60%, 62%. And I know particularly in the Madeleine McCann case, which is a big case in the UK, they found, or a cadaver dog picked up a scent on Madeleine. She was a little girl that went missing in Portugal, and they found cadaver scent on the mother's clothes and also on Madeleine's toys, but the parents managed to convince a judge that the cadaver dogs were unreliable. So like I say, it depends on what you research and what you read as to the reliability of these dogs. Personally, I think the reliability is extremely high. I know in a lot of other high profile cases and previous cases, they've been very successful. So, but I just wanted to sort of bring that to you. They have, as I understand, up to like 1,000 hours of training. They go through a huge amount of training before they are properly put on the job. And there are cadaver dogs, and there are also dogs that blood detection dogs that smell for human blood, but cadaver dogs are specifically trained to smell that one smell. And so if they pick up a scent and get a hit, then obviously it's got to be taken extremely seriously, particularly if it's a certified dog that has successfully or had success in the past on other cases. And they can even smell apparently up to 15 foot underground. That's when I researched it. That's the figure that I got, which is quite incredible, really. 15 feet underground. So just to recap, the first site that still needs to be, it looks like it still needs to be properly processed by the CBI. I know they did, when Andy found, or one of the dogs did pick up a scent, they did say that they were going to come in and take over. Andy was told to step away, but as far as anybody knows at the moment, nobody knows if that site has been properly processed, whether CBI brought in their own cadaver dogs or not. But the area that was of interest, or where the passive hit got picked up, was down in this rock area here, along here. Andy's been there with a probe, and obviously to help pick up scent from the ground, and that's the passive hit where the dog hit. Okay, the second site of interest, which I found out yesterday from listening to Profiling Evil, is is this, which is basically a tree. Two dogs apparently have hit. Two different dogs have hit on this tree for Cadaver. Again, apparently CBI came in, 5 agents, cars were there. Andy was told, to leave, but that's as far as my information goes at the moment. Obviously, as with all of these sites, the CBI or detectives, they have to get obviously search warrants for these sites. So that's something to bear in mind. Are they awaiting search warrants? Are they having problems getting search warrants? We just don't know that information at the moment. But I thought that was interesting that they picked up on this newly planted tree, and that obviously ties in with the information we had about the invoices for the trees, which became very interested to, or of great interest to the CBI, which we heard about yesterday. Now, for anyone who didn't know that when they put these trees down, you can get things called augers, which is basically like a special drill, which drills down into the ground and drills out a huge base for the tree to go in and for the roots to expand. And just out of interest, you can get attachments for bobcats. We do know that Barry, of course, has a bobcat. I'm not incriminating Barry in any way or trying to, but we do know that you can get these attachments for bobcats or for machinery. Obviously, we know Barry's in the landscaping business, people that work with him. So the third site, which we heard of yesterday, is the site out at Longhorn Ranch, which is kind of northeast of Poncha Springs. And this is where Barry owns a property which he bought at the end of June this year. That's just a picture of the front of his property with some rocks laid out. Now, and this is a story that came through with the Daily Mail yesterday. Now, as I understand, this dirt pile where this dog has picked up a scent is 2 plots of land along or away from the plot of land that Barry owns. And this had a positive hit again by Cadaver Dogs, 2 different dogs, and one of them I know for certain one of them is a certified dog, and I'm pretty sure it's probably the same dog that was used on the beach site. But as all that we know at the moment, we don't know if that site's been processed or not. And this is a lot of the sort of unrest that's going on at the moment, is the fact that law enforcement have noted these sites and they've come in and said, fine, we'll take over from here. But as far as we know at the moment, they haven't processed any of these sites where these dogs have picked up this scent. They haven't been officially sealed off. There's been no evidence response teams come in. As far as we know, they've not been eliminated. So it's interesting that press release came out from Chaffey County Sheriff's Office yesterday. I've just got a few more images there of the Longhorn Ranch site. So I think it's near this huge dirt pile here. These are actually images yesterday from the Profile in Evils channel, and you can see there the dog, the Cadaver dog, very interested in a particular spot. And as I understand, there was 2 dogs hit on exactly the same area. Just going back to the tree, it was interesting. I was listening to yesterday on PE's channel, and they were saying that whoever owns that land where this tree is, we don't know where it is at the moment, but maybe maybe Andy can go in and plant another tree. And he actually said himself, he said, if I have to get a backhoe, I'll do it myself. And I think he was hoping to call a senator to help with the search warrants. There's a lot of talk at the moment of why things seem to be, why he has to jump through so many loopholes to get things done. And there's been talk that maybe the budget is being exhausted and all this kind of stuff. I'm not going to get into all that, but I just wondered actually, I mean, if anyone watching will be able to answer this, but does a senator have the authority to make a judge sign a search warrant based off of a civilian search party, if you like? I know obviously certified cadaver dogs have been used, so whether that would help to sway the judge. I just wanted to say just quickly about it just seems crazy, doesn't it, that there's been these 3 positive pickups by these cadaver dogs, all in, or 2 of them anyway, or yeah, all of them actually in sites linked in some way to Barry. It just seems, is this too coincidental? I mean, I was thinking about this, and obviously what they've picked up isn't, I mean, first, it's not necessarily Suzanne, is it? It could be anyone, but the chances of it being like I say, on property linked to Barry would be extremely coincidental. But it could also be something like a tool, or say a shovel, or wheelbarrow, or rake, or something that perhaps has been used in the burial of somebody or someone's remains, and then maybe that instrument has then been taken to another site, say a construction site or work site, and has then been used there, therefore transferring the scent to that location. I think that's always a possibility. Or if remains or somebody could have been moved, obviously that would probably leave a scent as well. Or could it be an item of clothing, shoes, or could it even just be dirt? Could the scent be transferred from the dirt maybe to a tool or something like that? Or if dirt's been moved, could that carry the scent? So I just thought that was interesting just to think about, what these dogs are actually picking up on. Is it definitely a body? I mean, at the moment we just don't know. We have no idea. But I just thought that was interesting to think about. So I guess we've just got to wait and hear and see if anything develops on these. I did notice when I looked at the underneath in the comments of the Chaffey County Sheriff's Office last press release, there's a lot of unhappy people. There seems to be a lot of unrest in there, with people, saying, why have you been to these sites and left them? Why are you not sealing them off? Why are you not digging them up? What people don't seem to think that sheriff's office are taking this serious enough. I mean, I'm not going to get involved in that. I'll leave that up to you guys to comment how you feel about that. But we'll bring you more news as soon as I have it.